Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TV, and movies, we'll go from the Mojoverse to Earth 616 to the blue area of the moon in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the Uncanny Chris.
I'm the friendly neighborhood Brent.
I've got nothing clever this time.
Lions assemble. And how long have you known you were coming on this episode?
I finished 90 minutes of ice hockey 30 minutes ago, and then I had to drive across town, and then I got here and my internet was crapping out. So
did you play with Jason Momoa?
Oh god,
or was that just the one time?
The one time only thing.
Well,
a lot of times in my dreams.
Oh, we won't go that far into it. That's an after 9 kind of conversation. So, well, technically it's after 9, but this is not the dialogue. Yes, we are Marvel Alliance episode 65, one of 2 episodes this week. You get a double dose of us. So I know Brent's excited, to finally start getting ready to talk to people that have actually seen the movie.
Oh my gosh, yes, I am. I got coworkers who are going tomorrow night. I'm like, thank God. Friday we are chatting.
And Travis, I know you've already got at least 2 rounds of tickets.
Yes, I have. I grabbed one finally, got the IMAX showing for Friday, but I couldn't wait until Friday, so I got the earliest showing, but it's only in 3D. But I'll survive, it's a hard labor to bring on myself, but I'll survive. I'll get through a 3D showing. Can't wait. Oh my God.
Unfortunately, it's only one shown for me tomorrow night around this time of air, but I'll take it.
As long as we all get to see it. I just realized I won't get to talk to them on Friday because I took Friday off. I'm seeing it again on Friday afternoon. But Monday, I will talk to them.
No, you're not. You have a day off on Monday, darn it.
Tuesday, I will talk to them.
You'll get it right eventually.
Yes. So, but we'll get a little bit of our Shang-Chi review and just a little bit our preview for it. But let's get some network plugs out of the way. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network with 8 shows coming at you 6 days a week. We've got World's Finest True Believers, my show, and that dropped this week, doing a returning guest, Tyler, who joined us from Krypton Report Network and the Krypton Report podcast, looking at everything Superman. Went a little off brand for him from his first time. We decided to go into the first volume of Scott Snyder's run of American Vampires. So definitely check that out. And that show alternates bi-weekly on Mondays with Ranger Alliance. They will be new next week. DC Alliance on Tuesdays, superhero discussions on Wednesdays, Star Wars Alliance, and a walk through the multiverse bi-weekly on Thursdays. Marvel Alliance, this show on Fridays, and Slice of Film bi-weekly on Sundays. DC Alliance and Marvel Alliance go live on the Geekverse feed. DC Alliance goes live Monday nights. We go live on Thursday nights, so check that out. And both DC Alliance and Marvel Alliance have their own solo feeds, so check those out as well. We also have a Patreon. Got 2 tiers, $1 tier. If you want to throw a couple of shekels our way, that's our tip jar, and our $5 tier, which gives you ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and exclusive Patreon episodes. So we've got 2 ones that drop this month. I know every single week Travis loves plugging, ever since it got delayed, the eventual Ronin discussion that might happen this month. We'll keep our fingers crossed to the last Ronin. Every time I laugh when he says I said, how long has he been plugging that?
I can't help it. Eastman can kiss my, what. I hate delays, especially delays that we don't know. Oh, we'll just put it here a couple weeks. Eastman, that could go another month. He's kind of like the doomsday clock. I hated that as well. That really drove me the way that was released.
Well, yes, but and our last plug is our official sponsor, organicpricebooks.com. Yes, organicpricebooks.com. All your omnibus, hardcover, and collected edition needs are there. He's got his some new final order cutoffs of new releases that are coming this within the for pre-orders at that point, so check that out. He got some new orders in. If you are a fan of a show called What If, well, the first omnibus just arrived today in stock. It has 3 different covers. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let's look that up. Let's do a little live so we can see what the first volume of classic What If looks like. So as you see here, we've got already a second volume already solicited. And so you got volume 1 has 3 covers. That is the standard edition cover with Spider-Man. What if he joined the Fantastic Four? What if Jane Foster is the second? That's the direct market cover you can only get from places like Organic Price Books. And what if the original Marvel bullpen had become the Fantastic Four? So definitely check that out. Yes, that was a story. That was a legit story.
It was. I forgot that What If Jane Foster Became a Thor was one also.
Yep. That was how they tricked Jack Kirby to draw Fantastic Four again, because once he left, he came back from doing DC to come back to Marvel. He vowed he'd never do Fantastic Four. That was the way they got him to do Fantastic Four one more time. True story. All right. So again, thank you to JP and organicpricebooks.com. Again, put that code MarvelGUA at checkout for $2 off every single purchase. So thank you again. And all right. So we've got one topic tonight. Let's say hi to our buddy Greg in the chat. Hi, Greg. Just finished the episode. Yep. That's a lot of WoW going on. So only one to actually, before we get into it, I did this last week. I'm not going to make that same mistake again, even though I have notes in the chat. Our Shang-Chi review is going live Friday night, 9/10 on this channel. We are all excited. I will be there. Brent will be there. Travis will be there. Clay and Tony will be joining us for this chat. So we will be live at 9:10 this Friday. So if you're listening to this on audio only, tonight we go live and it will drop in all feeds on Saturday morning. So we're very excited about it. Hope you can, hope you can check it out. Be safe if you want to go out there and see it. Unfortunately, it is not on Premiere Access, so you do have to see it in theaters, or you're gonna have to wait 45 days to see it drop on Disney Plus. So, but we are very excited to talk about this. A lot of good buzz about this. So I think that's it. Let's get into What If.
What'd you think? This was a heavy one. Where are we at with it?
Yeah, I'd seen it this morning, and the first thing I said, I've seen What If, and that was a gut punch I was not ready for at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, same here at 8 a.m. for me, and I was blown away because you don't think, especially when we got the trailer for What If, you don't think that they're going to deal with some of the themes that they dealt with in this episode: loss, acceptance, what happens if you don't come to terms with that, what it can do to you. I was blown away. I don't know, because I had a lot of fun with the second episode, like a hell of a lot of fun, but it's these two episodes that stand above the other two for me right now. This one was, I was not expecting it to be so heavy, and like Chris said, it's a gut punch, especially when we get the montage of, and that is not a fun montage. Like, I love montages when they're fun, like usually the training ones, like Rocky. Here was not a fun montage, and each time, just, oh my god, it was bravo, it was fantastic.
This was my favorite one so far. It's my favorite one of the series. It was just super well done. The voice acting, absolute best so far, and of course, Benedict Cumberbatch, obviously leading the thing, and he does have voiceover experience. It paid off. I thought the voice acting in this was great. At the same time, the animation felt really strong to me as well. Like, I really feel like it's all the same style as we've been getting for the last 3 episodes. I feel like they're really like coming into it, like of what they wanted to look like. This was just a really great episode. And it dawned on me, we're not even halfway through the series yet. So who knows? This may not even end in the top 3 if we're ranking them all later. But right now, it's my number 1. I thought they just did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, in comparison to last week, last week was our first kind of quote unquote heavier episode. No, this is the heaviest one at that point, dealing with, in its simple title, what if he lost his heart versus his hands? And, I think personally, Rachel McAdams' character of Christine was not the strongest character in the movie. But in seeing this and how important she is at that point to, Stephen Strange, right off the bat, this starts off with a variant from the movie. She goes with him to the speech, when in the movie, she's like, no, I'm good. So, it's interesting, just right off the bat, we're already on a divergence.
And then it really seemed like the car accident this time wasn't really his fault. He wasn't distracted looking at his phone.
Mhm.
He was just driving in wreck, but he didn't. And then they got rear-ended.
You
And
could argue the first time was kind of still his fault because he went out the path when he definitely shouldn't have.
True.
That's
And then,
fair.
he
That's
could have
fair.
been rattled. But every other time that we went through this after, I don't want to get into too many, but there's a lot of times that it wasn't even anywhere near, he wasn't even driving in a certain instance. So I was blown, like I said, I was blown away. I wasn't expecting it, especially I thought that we would just get him. I didn't think we'd get this whole heart part. I didn't even look at the title when I started watching. I went to get my tea. So when I came back, it was already starting and I missed the title and really should have read that.
Well, it's interesting, even how they start off, like he's being honored for the hemispherectomy, which is a real actual procedure. It's very rarely done. It's mostly done on kids, literally separating the two hemispheres of the brain to treat typically epilepsy. But I love the symbolism that comes later on when that literally symbolizes what the Ancient One does to Doctor Strange later.
Yeah, there was a lot of that, Chris. We got that. I didn't even. I don't think any of us realized what she did until she explained it to us.
No,
really, because I was just thinking she was trying to destroy him, and it was good. And I wonder, with seeing her in this astral projection form, will we see her in the next Doctor Strange movie? Is there a chance of that now? Because maybe she just like viewed out into other timelines and universes. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious because there's a lot of things from this episode that make me think, will we see this in Doctor Strange 2? And I want to ask you guys a question after. I have it written down here because I was so curious, and you guys know a lot more than me. So before that'll be later though.
Yeah, the Ancient One, I was like, okay, she went full on Force Ghost in this, and I feel like that does open the door to see her character again. I didn't expect to see her again after the 2016 film, and then we got that cameo in Avengers Endgame. I'm like, okay, surely this is the final. And then, what if's a little different? Not surprised she came back for that. I kind of hope she does, Sir, in that Force Ghost mentor type role. I think that would be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, especially, she appears, in the future after her death because of the crack in reality that Strange Supreme created going back in time so many ways. So it's not necessarily quote unquote breaking the rules per se in that way, but I love we see it with so many different times with What If, like they homage back to what we've seen, instead of his hands finding reason in life, it's the death of Christine. But look how quickly he becomes more powerful, much quicker than when he loses his hands. And that's where I want to say that's why Strange Supreme literally is Strange Supreme. He doesn't have the loss of his hands. He's a lot quicker to the form to take to this stuff. But the amount of times that when he uses the Eye of Agamotto, it's interesting because the warning that is given is not as strong as a warning as Mordru gave him in the original Doctor Strange. The warning the Ancient One and Wong gave, it is a warning, but it doesn't come off as strong, I think. I mean, what did you all think about that?
I agree with that. And also, isn't it at the end of Doctor Strange in live action, isn't Mordo essentially kind of doing this, not with evil creatures, but with other sorcerers stealing their power, their essence? Could this be more little nuggets for us for potential future installments? That's the thing that blows me away when I went and watched this a second time. You pick out little things like that, and you wonder, will they touch on it at all? And I think, Chris, that the Ancient One is always a lot easier on Strange, and definitely didn't give him the warning that was needed there, and nowhere near when we watched the live action film.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I noticed, this is the first time they refer to him as the Sorcerer Supreme.
It is.
He's not been referred to that. The Doctor Strange that we know, the Doctor Strange that we follow from his own movie through Infinity War, Endgame, and presumably No Way Home. I'll say presumably for now. He has never been called the Sorcerer Supreme. So, yeah, maybe that's just a testament to what you were saying, Chris, about how his hands, he has full use of his hands, meaning he doesn't have any physical limitations holding him back. And he is, and of course, we saw him effectively go through the Doctor Strange movie real quick and learn those early spells, but then he just kept advancing and advancing and advancing at a very rapid pace.
Mm-hmm. And so when he starts using it, just every single time he tries to prevent it, how many different ways, how many different combinations to allow Christine to survive, even so much as so standing her up, and he still can't do it. I mean, it just reminded me of, if you've ever seen the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray trying to save the homeless man, and to the point like it never can change.
There was another movie, and I'm blanking on it. It was the guy was literally doing the exact same thing, reliving, trying to save this girl, but like it was a fixed point. I can't remember the movie now. Oh my god, I must have watched it like 10 years ago, but it was an older style movie, but it was kind of like in the vein of Groundhog Day, except kind of teaching them you can't change just one point. Very similar to this. I thought the lessons, like I said, they were very hard. Everyone goes through these things that Strange went through here in terms of grief and loss, and then trying to learn to accept that, never really accepting it. Like there's always a part of you that will always go back to thinking that. And it goes to show this here, because after 2-year anniversary, I guess he probably had these exact same like feelings in the first anniversary, but held it back. But it was easy to see with no heart and no like injury to his hands to humble him. His arrogance knows no bounds, and we see that here for what he does after this.
And that is key to see when people keep on saying, why is Doctor Strange doing this in No Way Home? He should have learned. He should have learned. He still is arrogant. He still is egotistical. He thinks he can do more. Wong warned him so many different times in so many different ways in Doctor Strange in the movie. He's doing it here again. He's doing it in the No Way Home trailer. This is still a man who is not the Sorcerer Supreme. Even when he is egotistical.
Well, I need a shock collar for Strange or something. He's clearly not getting the point.
If anything, he gets more egotistical with the more power he gets. And yeah, you're right. He did it he went back on the 2nd year anniversary to start this path. Maybe he would have at the 1st year anniversary or any day before if he had thought he was powerful enough.
Yeah.
And maybe he just wasn't yet. But as we see, he clearly was at least powerful enough to start the path. So he gets to the point where he gets to the Lost Library of Caligrosto, or however you say it, and then goes on from there and learns how to absorb others.
Was that tree the same tree that's in the like mural for Captain America, the first?
It is supposedly the World Tree.
Okay,
it is the World Tree. Yeah.
From looking at it. Yeah.
Even going back, I saw a lot of things popping up on Twitter and other groups I'm a part of, bringing up like, well, how is him using the time stone not creating so many different branches every time? This really shows the limitations of the time stone. When Strange uses the time stone to reverse time, it's not going to create a new branch. The time stone cannot affect the multiverse. The forces that govern the multiverse are more stronger than the stones. If he were to use time travel technology like the quantum tunnel in Endgame or the Tempad in Loki, altering that creates a separate branch. And so when in Infinity War, when Strange says he's seen 14 million outcomes and there's only one way out, he has seen 14 million outcomes within that timeline. It is not multiple different timelines. He is seeing it in just that much. So maybe the snap was an absolute point, like Christine's death, that he could not prevent the first snap from happening. That had to occur. That's something interesting I thought about.
It would be interesting to see a what if related to the snap. I just kind of assumed it is possible he's making alternate timelines. They're just not the story we're following. So every time he went back, maybe he did start a different time, but we are following this Doctor Strange, this version of him, or as we later learn, these two versions of him. But regardless, I don't even think it matters. Okay, he's making all these extra timelines. That's sort of the point of the end of Loki, and that's sort of the point of what if, it's all possible at this point.
I wonder if the Watcher, because I think we get more dialogue from him in the episode, especially at the end there with the bargain. But I wonder if he will realize what happened in Loki. Like, I wonder, will he become aware of that? Will we get some sort of that be part of the problem by the end of the season? Like, I'm assuming there's going to be a problem by the end of the season that affects some of these characters that we've been seeing here, but I could be wrong about that.
I think we're all waiting for the unification because they put the shot where it's altering where our knowledge of the Avengers altering against the Guardians of the Multiverse, and it'll be interesting to see that. But let's take our first ad break before we get into deeper of this. So, listeners, again, these ads keep the lights on at the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on, and they can be a bit loud. So let's give you that 3 count to turn that volume down before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. All right. So yeah, let's kind of get even deeper into this in the sense of like where he's going with, after he's failed and he gets another warning from the Ancient One. Do not go down this path. You can't. This is where we get to like the absolute point. Like Christine's death has to happen. And if you try to prevent that, it's not just you don't become Doctor Strange. You destroy your universe. But he doesn't care.
Yeah, I think that there was another, the guy that worked in that, I can't remember what the place was where he learned how to do this magic, that older guy. When he ages,
O'Bane.
Yeah, I think that is kind of the final time because he learned, like, you're literally seeing this guy accepting what's happened and is smacking Strange right in the face, and that doesn't even matter. So I think at that point, that he's lost. There's no coming back for him. That.
Well, here's an interesting thing. Here's a deep cut too. Cagliostro, his supposed real name is O'Bane.
Okay.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
That
is he's like, tell me you're not him. Oh, he kind of was.
He kind of was at that point, but like even when he's fighting to reading it, like he says, like he's gotten older. Like, wait a minute. As he said, you've been using your magic to stop you from aging centuries. It's like, oh my gosh.
He said, I just lived those years. And Strange even offers to reverse it and bring him back to like the time that he is right now. And he just says no. He's totally accepting that that's his part of the journey.
Especially when like he gets the book, he finds the book, and you see that is the same book that was in Doctor Strange. It is the same pages that Caecilius steals, and it's the same symbol that is on Caecilius and the Ancient One. And remember, the Ancient One used the teachings from that book to draw power from the dark dimension to live longer.
Yeah, and there's other things that I'm gonna get into it right now. Is when Brent mentioned when he opened up that book and started reading, there's a red symbol there.
That's right, the symbol. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only in the MCU, I've only ever seen red magic symbols like that one other place, and that's in WandaVision, especially at the end when she's using. So am I wrong to think that they're both from the same like chaos magic type realm there? Because I don't know. That was what I was thinking when I saw it, and I wanted to ask you guys because the red symbol just stuck right out to me, and that's all we saw when Wanda was using, especially in the fight in the sky.
It's definitely the runes. I mean, you saw the runes in Doctor Strange. You saw them again in WandaVision. And when Strange Supreme uses his powers, it is very evident it's chaos. He's using partly chaos magic.
The black dots thing?
The red.
The
red.
Okay. It's a great animation on him too, by the way.
I did kind of expect to see his eyes go even more with like the lines and stuff. Like they got like a purplish blue hue, almost like he had black eyes, and like literally like he got punched in the eye. I kind of expected the lines like we see in Doctor Strange when dark magic is being used, kind of because he's obviously using it, right? Like it's obviously the chaos magic, like you said, dark magic. That's clearly what's happening here. I just kind of expected it, but could chalk that up to just a difference between live action and animation.
I really like that for the first time. We've always seen the Watcher in the background narrating, no one's in, but this is the first time he's saying more and Strange hears him. I love the line that he says, I could warn him, intervene, but the fate of the universe is not worth risking to the safety of others. Could this be, and we've seen the trailers, that the Watcher needs him? Needs this version of Strange to continue?
I think that's very, very likely because he's one of the guardians of the multiverse, as they called it or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really feel like we've definitely not seen the last of him. We know that. So why? And he's talking about the multiverse is more important than just one universe. And he's like, yeah, I would punish you, but I'm not going to because I can't interfere. And even though we all know that the Watcher's like favorite thing to do is break that vow, he just didn't care enough, or this wasn't his concern. He had a larger role to play. I think you're onto something there.
And Chris, to back up your point even more, what happens to him just before everything goes down? He kind of is not two anymore; it becomes one. So maybe that good part of Strange can actually have more to say. And also, I'm sure he's learned a lesson from what happens to him in the fate of this by the end of this.
Especially with how it all turned out. It was kind of humorous. I chuckled at all the different beings he was imparting inside of him. The bug was the line, and we saw, even though they've said, I think one of the producers has said this is not Shuma Gorath, we do see, we'll just call him the tentacle monster at this point.
Is it the same one that we saw in the Captain Carter episode?
If it's Shuma Gorath or some being related to Shuma Gorath can travel between realities, and it doesn't have to be the same one that Captain Carter faced.
Yeah, it's different universes, so it could be just a different one entirely. That's the first thought I had, Brent, was is that the same thing as Captain Carter went up against at the end of her episode? I actually wrote that down in my notes there to ask you guys. So
I do want to ask, and Travis, I just heard you refer to him, Sorcerer Supreme or Strange Supreme, as like the bad one, and the other Strange is the good one when they merge. Do we really think he was the villain? Obviously the antagonist, obviously he's at fault for destroying his whole universe, but it's not like he was, evil for evil's sake. It felt like he was misguided and just lost in his grief.
Yeah, I think so. I think, the guys at Geekverse last night saying the misguided Strange, the lost one. Again, I think we all can relate to, any of us can relate to what he wanted, what a loved one being lost that you want. Hate to use that word. Hate to use it, Brent. One more day.
he needed more than one more day.
He needed one more than one more day. He needed one more lifetime with Christine at that point.
I felt it more when he did what he did to Doctor Strange, like the other half, especially in the shadows. It showed the darkness that he was still, for me anyway, he was coming from darkness still, and especially what we see afterwards with the monster that was inside of him and how it freaked. Obviously he regrets his actions, but I don't think he cared about anyone or anything when this was going down. Just to get Christine back, that was it. That was all. That was his focus.
Especially when it's, he's taken all the powers at that point. We get the revelation that what the Ancient One did, creating not just we see like, Castilia, it's gonna be Albanian, letting him do this. You're only half a man, so I let you do this because you're not gonna be able to use what you think you can use. And we get the revelation that she created two timelines that are basically up against each other right now with another Strange. And when he goes out seeing all the people kind of disappear, that reminded me of what was going on in WandaVision when her television reality was breaking down.
Yes, it actually did. Yeah. Thinking about that now, I didn't even put that together, but it did look relatively the same.
I think this is the first episode to have like the entire core cast back as well, which really I think maybe goes into part of why I liked it. I think the voice actors we've had have been doing a really good job, the ones who were filling in for such and such characters, but it really did just feel a little different. Like every single voice was the one we're used to hearing.
Yeah. I would, especially where I love we finally got more out of Jeffrey Wright's The Watcher. Like, this is the moment I've been waiting to see exactly. Okay, we all know from comic book knowledge, Uatu, who Jeffrey Wright is playing, Uatu says he will not intervene. He does everything he can, but he's intervened so many times in the MCU in different ways. There's a whole what if comic. What if Uatu intervened in everything in the Marvel universe? It's a pretty interesting what if. But
what if he became dictator? Okay.
Yeah. But what he says, like when Strange Supreme that was a cool battle. That was
That I had that
awesome.
written down.
Yep.
The,
That
the
that was
animation style is
Mhm.
off the charts there, especially
Yeah.
like I said with the, I guess, Sorcerer Supreme Strange, like the extra animation for his power, the black dots
Yep.
going in. You know, he's just conjuring up evil magic compared to the other one. And one thing we didn't talk about, I love how he got his cape off of one of those evil
Off the
monsters.
bug. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was good. Yeah, that was a great fight scene. Only to be, Strange Supreme. She should have won. He should have won, but to see exactly the cost of it, even though he gets Christine back, every monster he's absorbed, he becomes, even though he's able to shake it off, like he has become at everything he's didn't want to be just to get her back, only to see her die again because the universe, his actions have destroyed the reality. And he's begging the Watcher. He's saying, just take me. She doesn't deserve this. Punish me. And Watcher's like, if I could stop this and punish you, I would.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not my role. Again, going back to my theory, he needs him to continue and not just, get rid of him.
Also, is there a bigger punishment for him than making him stay in that purple looks to be like the Power Stone? Obviously, it's not, but it looks to be the Power Stone. And watches his sniffing other that he tried for centuries,
His
apparently.
dead body.
Yeah, it doesn't get more. Watcher's like, yeah.
He could be stuck there with Superboy Prime. He could just do that and smash.
Reality.
Yeah, just start punching the walls, and just that's actually how What If comes. Loki had nothing to do with it. It's just
Exactly.
Doctor Strange punching the walls of reality.
Maybe Jason Todd from Titans will grow 6 more inches if he does that.
Nope, unfortunately.
It'd be a start.
The line he ends with the Watcher: one life, one choice, one moment can destroy the entire universe. That was very haunting. And then I was like, oh, there's going to be stuff out. No, it goes to the haunting. I mean, probably the best music from both all the episodes so far, but it's just the haunting music. I usually stop and watch the credits. I needed to stop and watch the credits just the first time, just because it's like I needed a moment.
Was this the longest episode to date? I think it was.
By like a minute or two, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It definitely ran most of the 30 minutes. I think it was like 32 and change before it went to credits.
It felt like it was going at a lightning pace initially.
Mhm.
And then they get to the end of the Doctor Strange movie, he's come to bargain, and you're like, wow, there's still a lot of time left on the clock here. Which, hey, that's great. I'm not complaining at all.
He tries that move here and does not work out at all. I've come to bargain.
Yeah. So but we got some questions. If there are any other parts you want to kind of go into before we head to questions.
No, let's do them.
All right.
Yep.
So we got Fanboy Clay messaged me this afternoon saying that Baron didn't play any part in the What If storyline involving Doctor Strange. I think he's been confirmed for Multiverse of Madness. Will it be just to write him off, or will they continue the story they left off at the end of the first Doctor Strange?
My best prediction would be I wouldn't read too much into him not being involved in this story because it really wasn't about his character. My expectation would be that we will check in with him in the Multiverse of Madness, with him having a larger part to play in a presumed third Strange movie.
I'm with Brent on that one. His plan is going to come to roost in the third movie, and I think he's going to bring Dormammu to this universe. So I look forward to seeing that, and I hope it's a lot better than Spider-Man animated series when I saw it.
I'm a little cautious on this one just because of everything we are seeing trying to get involved in this. I think he's going to get pushed off to the side. I don't know about written off, but I just don't. It's going to be unfortunate. I just don't see him playing as big of a part just because of what I see me more of a beginning and then being pushed off to the side. I don't want him killed off because I think there's a lot more to that character to be done, but I'm concerned a little bit that I think he's going to be pushed off to the side.
Isn't he part or supposedly part of that like 99-cent store version of the Illuminati?
Could be. Could be, and that would keep it a little bit more. So his status would go up a little bit more. I just don't want to see him killed off. I think that would just be what that was setting up. I think, oh well, geez, now we're getting to other problems with not planning.
Well, the thing is, too, just one other thing. This second movie seems like it's going to be like nowhere near just a personal story. It seems like it's going to be like a world-shattering thing for the MCU in general. Maybe the third film will get back to more of a personal conflict with him and Mordo. So
yeah.
And it's worth noting that maybe plans have changed some because Scott Derrickson's not directing anymore. He directed the first one. He's not doing this one, so maybe there's been some plans. I don't know though. I'm sticking by my prediction of relatively little screen time, but alive for Multiverse of Madness. More screen time in a third one.
Yeah,
mid-credits.
Yeah, maybe. DC Outlaw says, I thought the story was mostly good and good performances, but I didn't care much for how the whole plot hinged on a fridging. Yes, we get the dreaded term of fridging at that point. And for those that don't know what fridging is, it is basically killing off typically a female character in order to further the plot, used basically as a plot device. And it's been ever famously used. The term came about by Kyle Rayner's girlfriend being shoved into and killed and shoved into a fridge, hence the term fridging.
Yeah, I technically, yes, this is fridging. Fridging, kill the female to motivate the male. Like that is fridging. Like men can't be fridged. It is only the one direction because you never really see it anyway. I thought of that earlier and I was thinking about it. It's not my favorite motivation, but when it's done well, I am okay with it. And it's also not something that we've seen a ton of. Like we really haven't seen a lot of fridging throughout the MCU, right? Like if this had been like the third or fourth or fifth example, I'd have a bigger problem with it. But it's not. That's not the case. So it's not something I want. It's not a trend I want to see start. But I think it's a valid storytelling technique or device when used very, very sparingly because it's too easy to be too shallow.
Yeah, and especially with what they're doing in the sense of taking the egotistical maniac who is so obsessed with himself and figuring out that he has a heart. Now, we knew in Doctor Strange he loved Christine and things like that, but this is what it really would have an effect on him. So, it's a trope that is a very bad crutch, as you said, Brent, if used very poorly. I think this was used well. It's not one I like seeing a lot, but it definitely... it gave for her character more importance than what I think was shown in Doctor Strange.
Yes, absolutely.
100%. And I didn't have a problem with it. I think it's because of this storytelling medium. Like this isn't the live action main continuity. This is a branch off. I know it connects. It's not Marvel Netflix, but this kind of gives me this opportunity for these storylines. We didn't go that route in the live action movie. We went the route of not the girl getting hurt, more so the hands and the personal like abilities. So you got the one way there. You have this other option here in animated form. I can understand the problem with it, but I didn't, like Brent said, this was done very well. And I haven't seen. I know people are going to tell me the times it's been done in the MCU, but for me, I can't remember it offhand if there has been. But it's not a normal trope that they use. So I was completely okay with it here.
I mean, well, let me say this one. I don't need to see it again. Like they don't need to do another fridging and what if for sure. Like you got one, you pulled it off in my opinion, but that's it. Otherwise you're just playing with fire. I'm trying to think of other times in the MCU. Maybe Clint's wife and kids maybe would qualify.
It's more of just because he wasn't trying to fight to get him. At the end, he wants him back and then snapping back of existence, but it's loss of everything for him.
Yeah, the kids in there as well. They always say that I don't know this. I don't have any kids. You two can attest. But they say that when you see the kids, like your kids, they're more important than, no offense to your significant other, but you would take a bullet. As Ryan Reynolds once said, you will take your significant other and use them as a shield for your kid. So
I mean, right now, like I'm looking at my letterbox for the MCU just so I can like visually have them all in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm really not seeing there's not another one jumping out at me that's an example of fridging. I'm totally open to maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm just brain farting and forgetting something. So please correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm not seeing it right now as I glance through. Nothing obvious is jumping out at me.
Yeah. And like we said, it was done well. If they try to do it again, it's just like, oh, well, they already did that once. It doesn't land as well. It just looks like now you couldn't come up with a good story. So, but again, I think we're all in agreement that it's not one we like seeing, except, this case, it was done well.
They got one.
They got one. They got one. I saw you added a new one in the chat there, Brad.
I added an old one. It's from last week.
Okay.
Selman of Steel. He had asked us last week, do we think Doctor Strange in the No Way Home trailer is maybe the evil one we were getting in What If? And at the time I said, ask me after we see that What If episode.
You did. I remember that. Yep.
We have seen that episode now. And no, I don't. I mean, maybe he drastically changed. But if the one in Doctor Strange is truly evil, like if that person is evil, I don't think that's this guy. This guy, if anything, I feel like he going forward might be the least arrogant Strange ever going forward because he just saw what his hubris cost him.
Now, could we see him play himself again as he played the voice of Dormammu? Could we see Evil Strange in Multiverse Madness? Oh, definitely. Depending on how it shakes out in What If, but most definitely, I think that's more possible.
Well, he could see this whole path. He could see this whole universe before it like falls apart. You could see like there's so many different things in that I can't wait for that movie, and this gives a little bit of possibility of that. And I don't want to say it. I won't say it. The M word, maybe.
It's not Mephisto. He's not Mephisto.
Again, I'll push back a little on calling him the evil Doctor Strange. I don't think he's evil. The misguided, the arrogant,
well, when
the proud.
When you split somebody in half, I assume that you split the good side and the bad side.
It's the easy, but it's just it's Strange is more complicated than that. And
even here, the quote unquote good Strange was tempted. They showed he was tempted. They showed him like pause and stuff like they don't know her. We know her. We could bring her back. Like they show him pausing. And yeah, sure. Part of being a hero is being tempted and working through those and overcoming those temptations. I mean, I think we could say that the good Doctor Strange was probably the better of the two, but again, the motivations were fundamentally pure. He's just trying to save the woman he loves.
So
he went too far with it, obviously, and he fell down a rabbit hole, no pun intended, with all the magic. I don't think he was evil.
Yeah.
So it's not like Smallville Black Kryptonite.
No.
All right. Do we have anything else we want to talk about before we not only do bring What If to a close, but this episode to a close?
I'm just excited for the next one. I haven't looked at what the next week's episode is yet, so I don't even know. I'll find out eventually sometime in the next week. Yeah. But because that's one thing I don't mind knowing. But I'm continue to enjoy the show.
Yeah, this was definitely I think it's all of our top one of the series so far. So we'll see where they head to next. But
I just looked it up. I know it, so I can say it if you want, but I was like, I'm going to look it up.
Go ahead. Say it. It's going to happen.
It's the Thor one, like the proud Thor one.
Party,
so I'm not Party Thor. Yeah, that's right. I'm not gonna watch the promo, but
yeah. I have not yet watched a promo, and I like going. I don't mind knowing who it's focusing on. Because seeing the trailer, I already know where certain ones go at that point. So I can already in my head saying, okay, where did we see Party Thor in the trailer? Where are we going with this?
Yep.
So
props to them for the last promo because it didn't give anything away about what was going to. I was surprised. It did just say like show Doctor Strange, but it didn't give anything away. So I was pretty happy with that.
Good. Well, Travis, thank you again for joining us tonight. And hopefully we'll see you back next week. If not, I know we'll see you very soon.
You will see me next week, and you will see me back on Friday.
Yes, we will see you on Friday, if not, and then after that for What If. But yeah, well, tell them how they can follow you, buddy.
They can follow me on Twitter at Travis_156. You can drop me a line. We can chat about pretty much anything. 2 shows on the network, DC Alliance and Superhero Discussions. Posted 2 episodes of Superhero Discussions today. News from the fandom, the animated news, Son of Batman review, and then the next episode was Mortal Kombat Legends Battle for the Realms. I want to say that's the name. Very lengthy name, but the same anime studio is going to do Injustice, so I really want to check it out. So check both those episodes out, and thanks for following.
Awesome. Brent, how can they follow you, buddy?
Brent Tech Prime on Twitter, and come back here on Friday night, right here.
Yep, right here. And you can follow me on Twitter at Chris Balga. And again, thank you to our sponsor, organicpricebooks.com. Again, use that code MarvelGUA at checkout for $2 off every single order. Again, everyone, we wanted to, with this, like we did a few weeks, about a couple months ago, this was just What If Only. So maybe we'll be lucky enough whenever another Marvel movie comes and a show is going, we'll do this. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, follow the show on Twitter at Marvel A Podcasts. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. Follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. Continue to tweet, email if you want to provide feedback, ask questions. Continue to rate and review us on the solo feed and the GUA network feed, and give us a 5-star review if you can. And thank you all for joining us in the chat. Again, appreciate you dealing with it for a short time. And stay safe out there, everyone. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right. So, end credits. Brent can't really participate in this as much. He can enjoy it.
End credits. Oh my god.
He put out there. I didn't come up. I had an idea, but I wasn't gonna put it out there just because I didn't think it was gonna be strong. But yes, Shang-Chi's coming up when this drops on audio. At that point, predictions, hopes. I will say.
I'm just going to cover my face. So
cover your face. I will say I want an acknowledgement. I would love the acknowledgement instead of all the denials that Bing Bang Boom has been introduced officially into the MCU, and that we get a little bit of some blip history, what Shang-Chi was living through during the blip. Just a little bit. I'd like to see that a little bit. And I have a feeling that you can pronounce this from wrong, Brent. Wenwu. Okay. My prediction, he's going to be one of the best villains of the MCU. That's my prediction.
I will join you on that prediction because everything I've seen from him is fantastic. I think it's going to be the best action in the MCU, just from the trailers. It doesn't look like the cutaways. I want to see. I'm going to call it. I don't want to do much like last episode on DC Alliance, where I'm calling what I want to see in the next Flash crossover.
Oh God.
I won't do anything like that because I think this movie's going to. I'm going to be pleasantly surprised by a lot of this movie, but I would love to see Val have a presence at that fight club. Either recruiting Abomination after he loses or being there scouting it or something. I would love to see that. I don't think we will.
After he loses. It's so funny because like I think it was Taylor at Geek Versus like, oh, Wong is definitely going to win 100%. And you're just like so assured after he loses. And I'm just like, well, somebody's right. But I think it's funny and just hearing such confidence.
Well, I'm hoping Wang wins because Wang will spare Abomination. Abomination might not spare Wang. So I kind of want to keep both of these guys alive and well in the MCU so I can see them again in the future.
I did like hearing that this is Tim Roth doing voiceover for Abomination. I did like hearing that. I did like hearing that today. I assumed it, but it was nice to hear it confirmed. But all right, we're going to leave those predictions where they are. Brent is smiling. He's not giving anything away. He's just laughing and chuckling as much as he can.
Finally will be able to change his name in a few days because everyone will have seen it.
So, but check us out again. Friday night, 9/10. We're finally going to get to talk about this movie, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.
Later.